If you are just wandering through St Andrew's Square or indeed anywhere you can hear us, we are in St Andrew's Square at the moment. It's Edinburgh Poppy Day, bringing you lots of live music. We've had the Band of the Royal Regiment of Scotland earlier on. Later, we've got Richard Kerr, who's a Royal Navy veteran. He plays guitar, he sings, he's got a great story to tell us as well. And a bit later on, George Heriot's pipes and drums. But you are in for a treat now. I just want to introduce them, just a reminder that this is Edinburgh Poppy Day. We're here for a reason, and that is to try and get you to support Poppy Scotland and the great welfare work that they do by donating to Poppy Scotland. There are collectors around the square as well. You can donate by text, and you think, oh, I've not got any money on me. There are also contactless cards as well. Right behind you there, gents, right behind you. Okay, let's introduce the band of His Majesty's Royal Marines Scotland. And you might want to just step out the way.
Band, band, turn, band, ready. Band, by the centre, quick. Band.
How good was that? Once again, show your appreciation for His Majesty's Band of the Royal Marines. We're going to speak to them in just a moment. This is Edinburgh Poppy Day. I'm from BFBS, my name's Mark McKenzie, supporting Edinburgh Poppy Day, raising money and awareness for the Scottish Poppy Appeal. Gordon Mickey is head of fundraising for Poppy Scotland. Gordon, I was looking around there just now, saw so many people with their mobile phones out. The great thing about those mobile phones is that you could actually just text the word Poppy to 70800 and donate to the Scottish Poppy Appeal.
Yeah, they can do that, Poppy 7800, or they can go to one of our amazing volunteers and use a QR code, or the contactless machines. There's lots of way, even that old-fashioned thing called money, coins, you can drop into some of the boxes.
How an important day is this for you and for Poppy Scotland?
This is one of the most important days in Remembrance Side for us, to raise our profile, ensure that the public of Edinburgh know who we are, what we do and why we do it. And we've got fantastic support from the Armed Forces community. We've had the Scots bands this morning and we've now got the fantastic band.
Which is your favourite?
Marie.
I'll stop that there. Can we get a quick word? Did you manage to find a volunteer? On Piccolo. Now this could be a wee while. Corporal Hannah, give me a clue. Thank you. Royal Marines Band Service, how long have you been here?
So I've been in 13 years now, so yeah, but I've been in Scotland for about 4 or 5 years now.
And congratulations on the recent promotion.
Thank you very much.
Playing on a day like this, because you must play so many gigs and all over the world as well, but this one's really close to your heart.
Yeah, obviously we get to travel a lot, but being in Edinburgh for the Poppy launch is obviously really important to us, and where we can sort of play our part in the national commemoration.
Fantastic, and I say close because you're actually just over the water in Fife as well, in Rosyth.
Yeah, we're in the better side of Scotland, so across the Forth, which is really nice, and obviously it's nice to come into Edinburgh occasionally.
At this point, how many of the band do you think are going, Mark, shut up and let us play the next tune?
Yeah, but most of them are.
We'll do that right now. Once again, please show your appreciation for His Majesty's Royal Marines Band Scotland.
band. Ready? Band, band, turn, band, ready? Eagles. Band and vehicles. Ready?